notifications to your subscribers.
That's it. That's what they do, man. You know.
I love it. I love when you go like people just like swarm in when
Yeah,
you've
they
been on our
do.
calls. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, like, should I send out and like, because we're both Gen X, so it's like, do we send out the flyers? Do we post,
Totally, totally. Oh look,
online so everybody
Bob
knows?
Daniel joined. What up, Bob?
Yeah.
Bob's
Oh yeah,
been
that's fun.
Bob's been helpful during the getting the Citizens Oath website up.
Oh, nice, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, yeah, like, dude. So Lawrence and I, before we jumped on, we were, he was asking me how I doing. Like, I was struggling with depression and anxiety, and like a lot of that had to do with a lot of it's been everything that's been going on, right?
Yeah.
It's like I got the news that I with mom and the dementia, because we kind of knew it was coming, but it's one of those things where you 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 know it's coming, but to hear it, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember, so we were at the doctor's office. It's me and my sister, and just got the news, and they sent a buddy of mine's like, "Hey man, you got the check mark, for you like that Substack gives you.
Right.
Congrats, man!" And I'm like, "Yeah, because and I saw that that Rich of that's Rich, he'd got it, and he put out this awesome post about because he and I kind of do similar things of like he doesn't wall off his content, I don't either,
Right.
and I like his stuff. It's more polished than mine, but like, but so I was like, oh well, if I cross, I got to do this thing. And when I got it, I was like, I ain't feeling none of this, man. I don't know what the hell to say.
Man.
And it's like, and the same thing with business, you know, like we're coming out this year. In fact, I'm going to LA in a week to meet with people. And, I had meetings set up, had this set up for a couple months. And now it's like, everyone's like, don't know what's going to happen, you know?
Right.
So and so the money that was supposed is potentially going to be there, and the excitement that was there, it ain't there no more. Hey, what's up, Dana?
Hey, Dana.
And so now it's like it was just like professional, family, you know, everything just feels like it's just falling apart, you know.
Well, and the country's falling apart on top of it.
Right.
I read your article, man, when you posted it, and my heart just broke for you because I've been in that position, and it's just it just sits real heavy, and I struggle with depression too. So I yeah, just
I,
holler. You've got
I,
so many friends here and so many people who care about
no,
you. Just
I appreciate that, and I actually did better this time because like I, I I'm one of these people. The way it kind of works with me, and I'm sure it's different for everybody else, but it's like I start feeling it, and it usually starts out with like I'm not doing enough, right? So then I start trying to outrun it. I don't know I'm doing it at the time, right?
right,
And I start doing more and more and more, but yet then I feel like I'm not doing enough, and then eventually that leads to kind of a collapse, and then I start lashing out. So I start getting angry, and I
right.
start looking to blame people. Everything annoys me, and I'm
Because
just
you burn out, right? Because you're in that stage
yeah,
where you're trying to do more because you feel like
right.
you should be doing more, but then it burns you out, and you're tired and you're angry, and oh, I feel you. I know what you're talking about.
And so usually what I do is like, so I'm starting to do more. I start burning out. I can't hang. So then it's like I'm mad at myself. So then I take that and I lash out at other people for their perceived failings. And then I'm like, well, damn, I didn't mean to do that. Then I apologize. And then I say, well, I think I'm depressed. Then I realize I'm depressed. Then I talk about it. So this time I said, let's go ahead and skip all that anger part of being mad at everyone else and just say, I'm depressed and take a step back. And that was the hardest part is calling like my business partners because I'm trying to finish up a script and I'm like, yeah, man, my creativity's just done. I literally sat and stared at a script for like 4 days.
Hmm.
No. Nothing. So I had to call my business partner, and of course, I got that arrogance too, where it's like, "Oh, I could write this," and it sucks too because when you're 10 pages away on like an 86-page script, you're there, like you're right there, and you might as well be 1,000 miles away, but you're right there, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I can get it, I can get it, I can gut it out, I can gut it out." Can't gut it out, you know.
What do you do in that situation? Like, what normally works for you? Like, I hear it not working this time, but what do you?
Here's the trick: this is the hard part with creativity, right? Is it's not like a 9 to 5 sort of 40-hour week job. It kind of comes like it comes when it comes. So here's the horrible part. Get on the call with my writing partner, business partner. I say, hey, I can't make this deadline that I put on myself.
Right.
Right, I can't make it. Um, I'm gonna have to. It's gonna take a little longer. And I hated saying that because I felt like I let her down. And she's like, no, you're good. I understand with your mom, everything else, blah, blah. And the problem when I get depressed is like, this is a problem for me, is like I start getting like violent, intrusive thoughts, like harming myself. And it really what it is just it's me with the understanding that um I'm just overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so like I was doing this, I'm writing a script and it involves a mother like trying to keep her daughter safe and she's losing her daughter. Right. This is the scene I'm trying to work on. Nothing. And I'm just like, man, like here it is. I'm walking Tucker, beautiful day. And blue sky, white fluffy clouds, sunny, 70 degrees, feels like 67 with a cool breeze blowing. I mean, it's
Oh,
just
perfect. The perfect weather.
perfect. And I'm literally thinking about like, I just want to take a Bowie knife and stick it in my sternum and twist it and crack it open and just pull out all this horrible stuff I'm feeling, right?
Yeah.
And I just had the call with my partner saying, I can't get this done. Like literally 30 minutes ago. And as soon as I started thinking all these horrible thoughts, I go, man, I bet that character's thinking that. Okay, here's what I'll do with that scene. And my muse showed up. And I was like, chick, where the hell have you been?
I
Where'd
love that
you
you've got a
go?
muse. I do too.
Like, where did you go? Like she strolled in like carrying lattes and be like, everything good? No, hell no, everything ain't good. You're
Right,
four
right,
days late.
right. I've been struggling for 4 days, and you've been at Starbucks. What the fuck?
Like, oh, I thought I was off. No,
Right.
no.
The schedule didn't show me schedule.
I was like, here's the schedule right here. And she's like, well, you know, you know, I don't like you yelling at me. I'm like, oh my God. And that's kind of how it is, man. Is like, it kind of it comes and goes at like the weirdest times because there's times I can take that I got to be coming through it to take that bad stuff and turn it into something.
Yeah,
The danger I have with depression is when I'm going into it, um, I try to conserve energy, and I don't know I'm doing it. So the problem with that is like I start shutting down, right? Or
yep.
it's like, okay, well, I don't feel like working out. I'm tired. I'll just take today off, and that turns into two, and that turns into three, and that turns into four.
And then a week,
Or I'm like,
and 2 weeks, and then a month.
yeah. Like I can't write. Okay, I'll set that aside. I just need comfort. I want to play video games and eat bad food, and then that turns into. And then the problem is like you do that and you feel worse because now
Yep.
you're like, well, I didn't do anything. So I have to force That's kind of one of the reasons I walk a lot of dogs for my exercise and in addition to other things is because if I don't do like because I'm obligated to be there. And so, like, because it's like, well, if nobody walks these dogs and they're not going to get walked.
Right,
It kind of forces me to at least go outside and at least walk. At least do that.
right.
So, like yesterday when it was really bad, I was just like, I was thinking about calling. I was like, I can't do it today. I said, no, 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 go, just go.
Yep.
Like, I wrote that article. I'm like back in February. I was in the skid. Like I knew I was fishtailing, and I was in danger of spiraling. And it's like I had to like other commitments. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to push these off. I'm gonna have to do this and that. You know. And it wasn't as bad as I thought, but man, it's like when you're in it and your mind is telling you you're a POS, you're this, you're that. You don't want to tell it. You don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to like call and say, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do what I said I was."
Right.
That's hard. I mean, it's just, or even just like doing the dishes or making your bed or folding laundry or just all this little stuff. And the thing is, it's like that's worse because we're living through this horrific nightmare, and that's why I posted that. It's like I'm like about Abrigo Garcia.
Yeah.
I've had a bad couple weeks, but I'm not in El Salvador.
Yeah, for sure. I want to acknowledge two things, Frederick. One, I see all the comments coming in, you guys, and thank you. And I intentionally didn't want to interrupt Frederick, so we'll get to your comments. The other thing, Frederick, I want to say is, man, you are just a taller, straight version of me, bro. Like, I am listening to myself right now describe my depression, and that is, I mean, I don't think it's a misery loves company thing. I think it's a like, holy shit, we're not alone,
No,
because
no,
everything that you're describing is exactly what my depression looks like too.
yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
I hate you go through that, man, because I tell you, like, it is a feeling that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
Yeah,
It's horrible. Like, I've got friends who don't go through it, like, and they don't really they don't really understand what it's like. And I'm not bashing them. I'm kind of glad they don't, because God, I don't want anybody to understand what it's like.
oh, for
But
sure.
the best I can describe it is like one day it starts
Thanks.
creeping up on you. It's like catching the worst cold you could have. You know it's coming, right?
Yes.
And you're taking vitamin C. You're trying to do
Right. You're
everything
taking the
that you
zinc, the echinacea
can,
drops, everything.
but it don't matter. All you're doing is delaying it, and then it hits you.
Yeah.
And so at that point, the best you could do is accept it and try to get out of it.
Right.
And that's when everything becomes harder. Like writing becomes harder. Like every your daily routine of things where you're like, man, I like everything that you love doing, you don't want to do.
Do you do this? Here's the thing that I do. I will have a day where I don't get anything accomplished. I don't go to the gym. I don't write. I don't, I'm zero productivity. I don't scoop the kitty litter, like nothing. And then I'll go to bed early or try to go to bed early, and I'll think, oh, tomorrow I'm going to get up on time. I'm going to go to the gym first thing. I'm going
Yep.
to I'm going to eat different. I'm going to clean.
I'm gonna change my life tomorrow.
Right, tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the
Tomorrow.
start. And the thing, like I found, like you set yourself up, like because what I've had to learn how to do is be happy with the small things, right? Where you got to go, okay, man, like, man, I don't want to do nothing today. I was like, well, go walk Tucker, go do
Right.
that. It's like, okay, I'll do that. It's like, man, it's like, just do these dishes. These need do this. And so you hyper focus on the moment, right? And it's horrible because you're just like all you're feeling is these horrible things. And I literally have to tell myself now, like I've got this through therapy where it's like I'm thinking of like bashing myself in the face with a hammer or just like horrible things. And I'm like, it's like, bro, you don't want to die, you're just overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely. Man,
Like you
I've had that exact moment where you're like, no, I'm not gonna go jump off that building. I don't want to die. I just don't want to feel what I feel right now.
That's it. And and it's like and and that's the horrible thing is because like the only reason I know that is because it would pass and then I go, damn, why did I feel like that? Man, life's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
I'm loving it, man. Like, what's going on? And so, but when you're in it, I mean, it's just and I've learned too that like I have to pay attention to being overwhelmed, you
Hmm.
know. And that's why I tell folks it's like if you have to take breaks, take breaks. I do, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
because I mean, there's just people in your life where we got one in the White House right now that will just they will make you miserable and wear you out.
Yeah. Consume everything, every bit of joy. Absolutely. I mean, I think you were heading this direction. Like, and you turn on the news, and you and me and Dana and the folks who are on this call, I think recognize like we're about to be in the fight of our lives. Like,
Mhm.
we've got to save this country. And you know what I do not have the time or the energy for right now is saving a motherfucking democracy for the first time in 80 years.
For
Like,
something that's supposed to work,
right,
right? We're supposed to have policy disagreements on like, well, how much should the private sector versus the public sector invest in blah blah blah? Like little, well, should the marginal corporate tax rate be
right.
25% or 28.6%?
Totally. Yeah. Sign me up for
Like
those
that.
days.
Yeah, those like where it's like the McLaughlin group. It was like
Uh,
that's the political junkies thing. It's like not like hey, there's a gay hairdresser that got deported to El Salvador because
he had the wrong tattoos.
he had the wrong tattoos and he was a green card holder.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Or they snatched an international student off the street at Tufts because she wrote an op-ed in the school newspaper.
Right. About Israel. Yeah.
He's a threat.
Right. A Fulbright
Really?
scholar. Yeah.
Or we've got breaking cases before the Supreme Court coming up about birthright citizenship. Why?
Yeah.
And here's the sad part is like we don't know because of the corrupt assholes we got on there. This should be a 9-0 ruling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's the 14th Amendment. Go
It's the
read it.
14th. Right. The 14th Amendment exists for a reason. It's right here in my pocket.
Well,
Like,
we're on a
it's not
call right
ambiguous.
now
It's very
doing
clear.
citizens oaths because a third of this country has decided to be like, oh yeah, it's fine, dictator's fine, hail Trump.
Yeah.
Like, and it's it that we this that's the frustrating thing because when you step back and look at it and go, are we really having this conversation, right? Because while we're wasting all our time with this, we're not preparing for the future for climate change.
Right.
We're not addressing like you look at Canada with Prime Minister Carney. There, no wonder they had a 25-point swing. I mean, part of that thanks, a big part of that thanks to Trump. But like, what's his thing? We're going to build 500,000 affordable new homes for Canadians,
Yep.
and here's how we're going to do it. I'm like, so Canada can do that, we can't,
Right. Right. An economist with a plan, actually based in real world economics.
right? And so what are we talking about? We got what was it Gorka saying if you're you're talking bad about like deportations that you're a terrorist.
Right.
What? Like and yeah, like so if that is I mean it's gonna affect you at times. It affects I mean cuz it's just like if you care about this country, how can it not? You know?
And I think it's on top of the fact, Dana and I have talked about this a lot. Hi, Dana. And like modern life feels really complicated right now, Like things that used to kind of be easy feel more difficult. Like I'm going to sound like an old man, but even like my iPhone, I swear to God, some of the software updates they've pushed out lately have made it harder to use, right?
Yeah.
Or resetting a million passwords, or God, I really do sound like old man yells at cloud. But you know, it just seems like there's a lot of overwhelm. Like we're replacing a lot of easy things with things that are more complicated. And and I'm not even, a mom of kids trying to like get everyone to art school or, band practice or soccer or whatever. I know I know so many people who are kind of at their limit, their like emotional bandwidth limit. And then you add this administration on top of it and it's like, a meltdown waiting to happen.
I think a lot of it is just due to social media, and it's this notion of like, hey, look over here, look over here.
Yeah,
It's one of the reasons I try not to write doom and gloom kind of content like this is the end of America or anything sort of definitive on the future. I might say like, hey, this is bad and we need to prepare for it, or this is something you need to pay attention to.
right.
But
If you want the
but
doom and
but
gloom, folks, come read my stuff.
but I mean, but that's the thing is you can't infect it with false positivity either. I think but everything, I think it settles in eventually. Like all new technology, you see this over and over throughout history. Is like every new technological shift leads to disruption, right?
Right.
And just the fact that we're able to talk the way we are now and people are able to engage with us was not possible 40 years ago,
Oh, for sure.
you know. But like just like everything else, we kind of lost some things by the convenience stuff, right? So, you know, we don't have sort of the downtown, or we don't have like the neighborhood shops like we used to because of, well, Amazon, you
Right.
know, because it's convenient, or we don't maybe go out and have the community thing because it's harder now. And there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not so much social media, but it's also like parents work way more than our parents worked. They don't have time for community. Like weekends are not sacred anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And bosses expect you to work, you
Whenever.
know. Oh yeah, like you like the thing that is convenient also. I remember it's like I used to get text all the way until I went to bed when I was in aviation, or emails that I was supposed to respond to.
Right. Or
Like
you
I
wake
could
up to the unanswered emails and you're like, what was this
Yeah, I
boss
could
doing up
never
at
leave.
3:30 in the morning?
My like work was always ever present, you know. And it's just you got a guy in the White House that lives for spectacle. And that's all this is. And that's the horrible thing. There is no plan for fascism. It's fascism. Yeah. 100%, but it's literally spectacle.
Right.
And combined with a narcissist who doesn't want to admit he's wrong. Yeah, round up some guys and say they're MS-13 and ship them to El Salvador. And we'll do a big, because the Guantanamo flights where there was Pete Hegseth, and the C-130 coming in, and they bring off 5 guys. That didn't land, right?
Yeah.
So let's send them to this horrible prison, and we'll send Christy Nome with her Rolex, and we'll do a photo op. Yeah, but it turns out two of the people, probably all of them, are not really terrorists or criminals. You know, because it's just, well, like ICE. They said round up these guys. Okay, so they did their job. They just went and rounded up some people that look criminal because they're, it's like stop and frisk in New York, right? They had stop and frisk, and what did they find? Overwhelmingly, the cops stopped Hispanic people.
Right.
Yeah, and so and it turns out like this is not a country most people want to live in. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. No, it's true. ICE is going to be stop and frisk writ large, right? Stop and frisk predominantly stopped Latino and Black people,
Yep.
and ICE is going to confront people who look in any way ethnic.
Mhm.
So, which brings us to why we're here tonight, at least in part. You know, um, I I keep wondering, like, what is the thing that we can do next? And I think there are 100 things we can do next. And
Mhm.
you know, the thing you said about overwhelm and like the disruption that everything that that we feel when something new and big comes through. The thing is, we're living through a time period where it's disruption after disruption, right? Like it's internet and then social media and then AI and then 100 things, and there's not really this feeling that anything is stabilized. And I think, I mean, this is a really hairpin segue that I'm trying to do here, but you know, in combination with the fact that we're not learning civics in school, and
Yeah.
most Americans have a fifth grade reading level, and we're not really teaching people how to discern truth from fiction or to logically process what's happening. We've lost touch as a nation with what's actually real. And we've talked about this before, that I think there's something about the fact that we say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. We say it to the flag and the republic for which it stands. We don't mention the Constitution in there. And so
No.
I think it's symbolism, right? It's all show and no actual content or commitment. And I think part of what we're trying to do here with the Citizens Oath is actually reconnect people to the foundational document of this country, like the actual rules and instructions that we're supposed to be running this nation by.
Yeah. I think it makes it. I think so much of you know you feel powerless, right?
Yeah,
Um, you feel like there's there's nothing you can do, and you just have to sit there and sort of take it, or you want to ride through it. And you see these town halls; they'll have an effect. The courts are starting to find their spine,
yeah,
right? Maybe not the Supreme Court just yet, but all the lower courts, oh, they're finding it because if due process goes out the window, what then they are irrelevant.
right.
Yeah, their
Then we
entire
got nothing.
profession, all of it is irrelevant. And they probably don't want to lose like they shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Legislative branch is next, and that's where these town halls are important.
Well, we're hearing that the places where Bernie and AOC have done their town halls, suddenly those Republican congressfolk are really leery about voting against Medicaid, right? It's not a coincidence. They're
No.
seeing the power of the people who are showing up.
Yeah.
And, you know, and this is about showing up. This is about kind of showing up for the Constitution and trying to get other people to show up for the Constitution, so that we can push back against Congress and basically say, do your jobs. I took an oath to the Constitution. So did you. I know what that oath says. Like, I know what the Constitution says. You should be doing your job.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but like, do you know like with the kids like learning new math? Do you know what that is? Like the
Yeah.
new math.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you know how that came about?
I don't actually.
Okay, so because like how we learned how to do it, it was different, right?
Yeah.
How the new math came about was there was this guy in Australia who had this new way of learning. And I've talked to people who are in education, they hate this. But and so it was this that's where all this new like learning and new math came about. And everybody in Australia was like, this is worthless. This is junk. We're not doing it. However, at one of his seminars he was giving in the US, there were two women from Texas, and they thought it was just a great idea, right? So they picked up his book, and for the next 20 years, they went around to all these districts and all these politicians and said, you should do this. You should do this. And now it's damn near nationwide. And everyone's wondering, how the hell did we get this?
Right.
Was it some study that the US did that said this is the most effective thing to do? That this is like the way we should go? No. It was literally two women listening to some RFK Jr. type in Australia on education.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Which goes back to the only thing that changes the world is a small group of motivated people with an idea, right?
So here it is like, what's the citizens oath going to do? Because make no mistake, Trump may be gone in 4 years, right?
Yep.
And Democrats may, I mean, come back into power in a big way. But in order to keep that, we've got other things to do, right? Fox News will still be there, and they got to
Yep.
be taken care of. Like all these other things. And so, like,
MAGA
you
is still
got to
going to
have
exist,
something. You got to
right?
have an anchor. You got to
Yep.
have it. You got to have something to a focal point to keep you focused. Something that cuts across party, like that would cut across party lines. That's gonna The extremes of our society are not going to care about, but the big chunk in the middle. I mean, what else could it be? It's not the flag because it's the Constitution.
Right.
That's it. You
Yeah.
know,
If we lose the Constitution, we've literally lost everything. We've lost the country. We wouldn't get it back in our lifetimes.
America being an American means something totally different. Then I don't know what it means, but if you know, I
Yeah,
don't know
it
what it
becomes
means at that point.
it honestly, then it would become something almost more like an ethnicity. Like if somebody says like I'm Italian, they're of Italian heritage, they speak the Italian language. When we say we're American, like, you know anyone could be Italian and move to America and become a citizen and become an American. If I moved to Italy, I couldn't become an Italian. I would just be an American expat living in Italy, and that
And
would go away, right?
right,
Like,
and well, and the other problem is like you have a shifting morass of whatever power or who's in power says it is for you to be that.
right.
That's why we have amendments. That's why we have these things, because if the 14th Amendment says if you're born in this country, you're a citizen, that's what it is.
Yep.
There's no, well, it's an anchor baby. I don't care. You know,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
ancestors weren't born here.
Seriously, when my people came over from, fleeing Russia in the 1880s, yeah, my
Yeah.
my grandfather was an anchor baby. He was the first one of us born on American soil. That's just called emigration. That's called the process that everyone has done since, the founding of this country. And apologies to native folks who have obviously been here for much, much longer than that. But
Well, even they came across the land bridge. I
sure,
mean,
everyone
you
came
want to
here
go,
somehow.
you want to go back further, so I mean, the thing is people move. There's movements and so the thing is, what holds a country together is ideals. And if your ideals are racism and white supremacy and Christo-fascism, I don't want to be a part of that.
Right. Me neither. Yep.
You know,
Because that country would not be America. Like in its heart and its soul, it might have the name, they might use the same flag, but that would not be America. That would not be the dream of the founders. It would not be Dr. King's dream. It would not be the thing that we've all grown up thinking and believing that this country could be.
like you saw it today because I was walking along, Mister F your feelings with his Trump flag, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I took a picture once and I put it on. That's actually not my neighbor had a Let's Go Brandon flag, and I put that as the MAGA neighbor I don't want to know, and I've never seen his truck until today, and I just happened to look because normally he backs it up where the plates by the garage door, and I
Right.
saw BD and Energy, and I went, of course he's got that license plate, of
Right.
course he does,
Right.
and
Biden.
here's the thing, I go ahead, buddy. I will fight for your First Amendment right to have your F your feelings flag, you know, and your BD Energy license plate.
Right.
Sure.
Even though
But
I
I
know
also
you
have the
wouldn't
First
do the
Amendment
same
to
for me.
laugh in your face when I see you
Yeah.
and flip
Yeah.
you off, you know, idiot. So I mean, I don't want to send him to El Salvador, maybe Angola, Texas, but he's ignorant, but that's the thing, man. Is like it's these people that I do not want some diaper wearing, drug addled freaking, man baby adjudicated rapist, convicted felon, malignant narcissist, deciding on what's American.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like
We are doomed if that is what we let happen.
it's like because these MAGA folks, it's like you wouldn't be out there at Valley Forge, and it shows, man. Don't give me this mess of you're patriots. No,
Yeah.
you know,
So here's what we're going to do tonight, folks. We're trying an experiment. We are going to, if you would like to take the Citizen's Oath administered by Frederic or me, go ahead and drop your name in the chat. We're going to do a first come, first served basis. And here's how it's going to work. I can add people to this chat. So we will, there can only be 3 presenters. So I will add folks one at a time in the order that you drop your name in the chat. And we will administer the oath. You can pick which of us gets to do it. And then when you're done, I will unadd you from the chat. And hopefully not boot you from the entire meeting. I really hope that doesn't happen. If it does, just rejoin. But then we'll do the next person after that. So if you want to take the Citizen's Oath, go ahead and let us know, and we'll do that. And I just also want to mention that thanks to Bob and Cheryl Ann, I have put together a website called thecitizensoath.org.
love it.
Don't worry about the domain names being stolen, because I also bought the citizensoath.com and citizensoath.org and citizensoath.com. Nobody's going to outmarket us. So those all point at thecitizensoath.org. It's a simple website. It's got the oath. It's got why we're doing it. It's got some simple next steps, which are built upon what Dana and I have talked about with Frederic over the course of the lives we've done together. There's a flyer that you can download that you could take to the upcoming rallies. Yes, it's thecitizensoath.org. And you don't need to worry about capitals or anything. It's the internet. It doesn't care if you lowercase stuff. So print out some of those flyers and bring them. I think it would be amazing if we could get folks who are, actually videoing friends and family and get that posted. I'm in the process of getting socials for the Citizens Oath for everything. So, yeah. And there's a snazzy shirt. If you want to buy the shirt, it would help offset some of the costs of building the website. What's crazy is no one has volunteered so far, Frederic. So this may be.
I didn't put them on the spot, man.
Oh,
Yeah, that's okay. Like but we could talk. And if anybody wants to jump in, it's fine. I mean, Lawrence is paying attention. I'll just jabber on.
I mean, you and me could jabber on forever, and
Pretty
then you
much.
get Dana in the mix next time, and the 3 of us can. Dana and I were joking. Your ears might have been ringing, Frederic, because you are possibly the only person who is more verbose and garrulous than either she or I. Like, the 3 of us are all happy taking a microphone and just be like, "Oh, this is on. Okay, here." Let me
That's
see.
it. I was like, all right, let's do it. It's like people say, hey, I've gone on, if I've done a live, it's like, you need some prep. I was like, no, let's just launch, bro. Let's do it. Like,
Yeah.
let's
Oh,
go.
hey, Susan is saying, "Tell us what the oath says." And I'm sorry, Susan. I guess we've talked about it a couple times, and I just sort of think people know. Um, so what I did is I took the oath to the Constitution that elected officials take. Right. So there are a couple different versions. There's one that, as Frederic can tell us, folks in the military take a version of the oath that kind of vows loyalty to the president of the United States in addition to the Constitution. We didn't want that in these current circumstances.
No.
So I took a version of that oath that elected officials say, and I just added a line that says, rather than discharge the duties of the office to which I have been elected, it says discharge the rights and responsibilities afforded to me as a citizen of the United States of America. So I'm going to read the whole thing right now, just so everyone knows. And thanks to my friend Bob, we have added, if you don't want to say the "so help me God" part at the end, you can say this I affirm under penalty of perjury, which is a common substitution that's used for other oath takers if they're atheist or don't want to take an oath to God. So it's I, my name, do solemnly swear or affirm, if you're going to do the affirm under penalty of perjury, swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the rights and responsibilities afforded to me as a citizen of the United States of America, so help me God, or this I affirm under penalty of perjury. And that's it. It's designed to be something that's freely taken. Honestly, I would not want to live in a world where anyone makes anybody do this. So if you don't want to do it because you don't like America, or that was a wrong way to say it, but if you don't want to do it because you're not comfortable making a public oath like this, don't do it. But I know for me and for Frederic and Dana and some other folks who have taken it, it feels good to kind of like touch grass, to like put your hand on the
Yeah.
thing that is the rule book of our country. Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
I think part of the reason I like, or the big reason I like it, is and I wrote a piece about it, about oaths, but the other part of it is, man, is like the right has co-opted um patriotism and then perverted it, right? And there's this, and it seems to me like there's this feeling on the left that we can't like or even love our country
Yeah,
because we don't want to be like them, right? And it's not about like, loving your country doesn't mean like you accept things and you don't push to change it, or you look at the past with rose colored glasses. You know, you can see all the ugliness and everything, but the thing is, like, and you can see this all the way from our founding. There have been people that have, like, America is a story of, yes, oppression and genocide and horrible things, but there have been people who stood against that. You know, um, like the abolitionists or the suffragettes, or Joshua Chamberlain and the boys from Maine who held the line at Gettysburg. You know, where we didn't have like, because of them on uh Little Round Top, we actually, and the Minnesota in Devil's Den, we have a whole country. We don't have a Confederacy. We're not split.
yeah,
It literally came down to that moment, you know, because had we lost at Gettysburg, probably ends the war. McClellan gets elected, Lincoln doesn't get reelected, and that's
right.
it. And
Yep.
and or you look at all the African Americans who served, like, or Native Americans, or like the code talkers. All these people that the Trump administration wants to purge from history, that who were oppressed and had every right to say no, but didn't. And like that, you can be proud of that stuff. Uh, you know, like and I mean it's or there's so many examples throughout our history. We're an imperfect experiment, and the goal is to continue moving forward.
Yeah,
And you can be proud of the lights in the darkness and the shining examples that we have. You know, and so it's like that's why I like the oath, because it's an attempt to take that back from the right that seems to think like they're the real Americans and we're not.
yeah,
And I think too much of that gets internalized on us, right? That we can't be proud of America, that we can't be, proud of the work that we're doing, you know.
yeah,
And that's why I like it, you know. And it's not like, here's the thing, we're not asking you to swear it to the government,
right.
you know. to the
Right.
Constitution.
Right. It's literally to the Constitution itself. And one of the things that I love about it is who could object? Like, if we do this, like if I videotape myself taking the citizen's oath to the Constitution, who's going to be mad at me? Trump? MAGA people? Like, why would you be mad at any American reconnecting with the Constitution and taking an oath to the Constitution unless you don't want them to be loyal to the Constitution? Because what you really want is for them to be loyal to you. You
I'm
know,
sure. I'm sure they'll have a problem with it somehow.
and
You know.
somehow, right? Some way we
Yeah.
can't imagine.
You
Yeah.
know.
Susan, I'm just clarifying. Does I'm in mean you want to come on and have Frederick or I administer the oath to you, or you just like the idea? No pressure. It'd be okay if nobody jumps on this and actually does the oath tonight. It's just fun talking about it and kind of expanding the.
Susan says yes.
Susan's
No.
in. All right, Susan, I am adding you. All right, keep talking, Frederick, while I work some magic here.
All right. So let's see. I got to go get the chicken for the blood sacrifice.
He's kidding, Susan. He's kidding.
No, I'm not wasting a good chicken. You know.
Ooh, this is all right. Substack. There needs to be a faster, easier way that we can do this.
No. No, it's
There you are,
Substack.
Susan. All right,
Is
here
she
we
in?
go, folks. I'm adding. Just
Oh
waiting
yeah,
for Susan.
she gets the lobby. Yeah. So, but yeah, man. I mean, but that's why I like it, man. You know, it's yeah. No, the Constitution is that's the keystone. The government can change. It's replaceable.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get new leaders if we don't like them. You know.
I got you anyway.
There she
Susan,
is.
hello.
Hi.
Thanks for
Hi,
joining.
Susan.
Hi.
You are yeah. All right. Good to have you. You know, you are
Yeah.
technically so we did another one on Zoom.
Yeah.
So I think you might be the first one to be on live and to take it live.
Yeah. Yeah. So last time
Yeah.
we had Bob, my buddy, who's helped me with the website, and Cheryl Ann, who man, if you want a masterclass in calling your representatives, you need to talk to Cheryl Ann because she has got it down. She knows how to pick up that phone. I talked to her this morning and she was like, "Oh, I'm only calling 10 or 15 people today." And I was like, "What?" So, Susan, you're the first person to do it on live. So, thank you
Mhm.
for jumping in. I'm going to nominate Frederick to read the oath to you because he's got such a great voice and
Are
he
you
knows how
sure?
to pause at the strategic place.
Let's
I'm going
see.
to learn
So
from him while he's
I
doing
got
it.
I got you. I got to pull it up. The Citizens Oath. Like you know what? I'm gonna do it off of your Substack, buddy.
Nice.
That's what I'm gonna do. You know, like so. Where are you from, Susan? If you want to, like, where you live? Like, what state are you living in?
Michigan. Can you hear me or do I have to
I
talk?
I can
No,
hear
we can
you.
hear you.
Oh, okay.
Are you low? Are you Upper Peninsula or Lower Peninsula?
Lower Peninsula.
Dig it. I worked at DTW. So I lived in Belleville, outside
Okay.
of Detroit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was there for 6 months. Yeah. So yeah.
All right, Frederick, I
Okay.
just put it in the chat, although it's kind of chunked out because apparently Substack chat won't let you do more than like 300 characters.
Oh no, I got it. I got it.
Okay, nice. Nice.
Okay, you ready, Susan?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's see. I state your name.
I, Susan Genzer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I will bear true
True
faith
faith
and
and
allegiance to the
allegiance to the
same,
same. That I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without any mental reservation or purpose of
Evasion.
evasion.
There you go. And that I will well and faithfully
And that I will well and faithfully
discharge the rights and responsibilities
discharge the rights and responsibilities
afforded to me as a citizen of the United States of America.
afforded to me as a citizen of the United States of America.
So help me God.
So help me God.
There you go.
All right.
Congratulations, Susan.
Yeah, nice job. I love it.
I
I
always
love
love
it.
asking people how it feels to take it. Like you did this of your own free will. You're touching the Constitution. Kind of, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's right
That's
up there with
awesome.
holding those signs on April 5th.
Right? Exactly. It's empowering, like being out there on the
Yep.
side of the road holding up those signs. I love it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's the thing that binds us all together as Americans,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I that's awesome. I love it. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Susan.
You're very
Yeah.
welcome.
All right. So I'm going to take you off of being a presenter now.
Okay.
Hopefully it keeps you inside the meeting. If it doesn't, just please rejoin.
Okay.
We're experimenting with the joy of Substack right here.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Susan.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. It said remove participant from live video. So I think that did what we wanted it to do. That was awesome. Thank you, Susan.
There you go.
Who wants to go next? I see Kat over here cheering in the comments. So I kind of think Kat maybe.
Maybe.
If you want to. No pressure.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, and that's great. I love this because it's a way, again, it just, you feel the connection, right? It shows that like we have these shared values that we all care about.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Susan's still here. Awesome. Cool,
yeah,
cool.
Susan's still here.
Yeah.
Oh, Kat, yes, I'm sorry. I did just call you out, but don't, no pressure. I saw you cheering the freely part, and so I think you get it. That this is a thing that
Yeah, she's
down.
down. If she can always refuse.
Nice.
She wants
Okay.
to do it. Let's do it.
Let me see. All right, Kat, you've got such a short username. Let me see if I can add you or find you in the overall scroll here. So, Kat, is this you, Kat Lee? I know it's not Cat Turd because we all know who that is.
If he manages to show up, I'll give him an earful. I'll give him 2
Oh
earfuls.
my goodness. Yeah, that would be absolutely insane. So one of the things that Bob reminded us of is no, I know you're not Cat
No,
Turd.
we know that. Yeah. No.
I'm just trying to figure out your handle, Susan. Is it @cat? Oh wait, actually, if I hover over your name.
Yeah, there you go. See, I'm learning stuff here too.
Oh, @Catherine Ann Bauer. Okay, I got you. And that should probably get me to you. Oh, it doesn't. There are a lot of Catherine Anns. There you are.
There
All
we
right,
go.
Kat, you're about to be on. Oh, she just disappeared. Sorry, please hold. There you are. Adding Kat. Yeah, so Bob reminded us in the chat that a really cool thing to be able to do once you've taken the oath. I mean, you could do it now without, but it's kind of cool to call your rep or write your rep and be like, I've taken the oath, just like you did, and I need you to reconnect and recommit with what it actually says in the Constitution. And for Congress, that includes oversight of tariffs, right? The president does not actually have legal authority to do tariffs, declarations of war. So,
oh my God!
oh, look at you!
There
You're
you are.
outside
Yeah,
and it's beautiful wherever you are. Hello.
In
Are
my
you
backyard with no makeup on.
That's
Oh,
okay.
you look amazing, and the sky behind you is fantastic. I love it.
There's no
My
amendment
backyard's
for
the best
makeup.
place.
Yeah. There
I
we
love you
go.
guys, by the way. Thank you so much for everything you do. I really
Sure.
appreciate it.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
what you do. Thank
Yeah.
you for being here. Absolutely.
I'll take the
So,
oath all day.
no, I love it. You want to do this one, Lauren?
Full
Yeah.
blown.
I'll do this one. Okay, Kat, I'm going to ask you first. Do you want to do the like swear so help me God version, or do you want to do the affirm this I affirm under?
I would do any of it. I
Okay,
believe
Yeah.
in my Constitution more than the Bible or anything else in the world. Literally, it's the best
Love
human
it.
document that exists, in my opinion.
God bless. All right. Well, I'm going to do the swear so help me God version then, if that's okay
Okay.
with you. All right. So I state your name,
I, Catherine Bauer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and mostly domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear truth and allegiance to the same.
that I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the rights and responsibilities afforded to me as a citizen of the United States of America.
and discharge all the rights and responsibility of the United States of America
Afforded to me as a citizen of.
afforded to me. That's the most important part of this whole deal.
That's it.
Yep.
That's the most important part. That last sentence to me is the most important part that they have forgotten.
Yep.
Yes.
So help me God.
So help me God. And
Woo!
whatever else is out there. Woo!
Woo! Go, Kat. Where are you joining us from, Kat? It's beautiful in your backyard.
I'm from Texas. I'm in Houston right now.
Right
Oh,
on.
dig
Go,
it. Yeah.
Houston.
I've talked to you. My family lived in Victoria, and that's where
Yep.
you were born. So,
That's
yeah, we've had a
yep.
chat before. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I
Nice.
I was
This guy traveled everywhere.
I was born in Victoria. That's where I came into the world. Yeah.
Awesome.
You have a great
I am
life
a native
story.
Texan. I am a native Texan.
All right. All right. Kat, how does it feel to take the oath, the citizen's oath to the Constitution, in front of all these fine people?
I would take it all day. I don't understand why people who've made their life work about it not really hold it so dear. It literally gives me the freedom to do everything I've done in my entire life. That people have been lazy and not protecting it has been disturbing.
I
Well,
love it.
we're out to change that, and you're a
Yeah.
part of that now. So thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks for getting
I
it, Kat.
know. That's why I
We
follow
appreciate
you
you.
both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right. I'm
Thank
gonna
you
click the
guys.
little X and we'll see who wants to go
If
next.
I can see it in the sunshine. Okay, thank you.
All right.
I'm keeping watching. Bye, you guys.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
Kat. Bye.
There you go.
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That that is so cool. Kat, you're fantastic. Susan is fantastic. This is fun.
that's it. Yeah. You
So it's
know,
the top of the hour. I know you don't have a ton of time, Big Coffee, but let me know if you can go a little bit longer.
yeah, I can go a little longer.
All right. Does anyone else want to join and have one of us two fine bearded gentlemen read the citizen's oath to you?
That's it.
So, Frederick, I'm going to reflect back something you said earlier. You were talking about imperfect, right? And the idea that the country is imperfect.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me because it's taken me 55 years, but I finally gotten to the point in my life where I realized, like, I'm imperfect and that's fine. Like, that,
Yeah.
it's okay. Like, my entire life of trying to, be perfect is bullshit. Like, I can love myself as an imperfect person. And I feel the same about the country, right? Like, I love this country. I absolutely know that it is flawed and imperfect. The Constitution is flawed and imperfect, right? It has that whole bullshit 3/5 of a person thing in it. But they built it to be amended so that it could, like us and like the country, continually evolve and get better. And, I don't get anyone who can look at, I know how much negativity America, I know that America's done bad things,
Yeah.
but there's so much good that we have brought into this world, and so much more that we can do, unless we let it fall into dictatorship, in which case it's just going to be the biggest force of evil that has ever existed. I
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, and here's the thing that life isn't binary, and it's not an all or kind of nothing thing. The same society, the same people who elected Donald Trump also elected Barack Obama.
Right.
And we always have the capacity to push forward and do better. Always. The same country that produced Strom Thurmond or virulent racist produced
Yeah.
MLK
Right. And Cory Booker.
and Cory Booker, right? And so it's produced some of the best and brightest of the world. We've taken in some of the best and brightest in the world, and we've also done horrible things to people that didn't deserve it, you know. And so the thing is, it's just like, just even in my own life, I used to have a lot more flaws. I used to be more angry. I used to be a lot of these things, and now I try to do better. Sometimes I fail, and sometimes I I do okay. I did better with depression this last time. I don't know how I'll do next time. Maybe better, but I try to take something from that and I say, hey, here's where I've messed up. I don't want you to mess up. If you're going through this hard time and you haven't, you know, I mean, the best way I can say it is like, like what is that old saying? Is like, yeah, we're in the mess, but we're in the hole. But I know the way out.
Right.
So
Man,
let's go.
are
You
you as
know,
much of a West Wing fan as I am? Like, did you watch the West Wing when it was on?
I did, like, it's been a while. Like, I remember when they used to have like the watch parties and stuff. Remember
Yeah.
watch parties?
Oh
You
God, yeah.
know? Like, yeah, I remember, like, yeah. It's man, remember when we thought our politics could be like that?
I do actually vividly. I mean, it was kind of during the Iraq War, right? Like, it was sort of
Yeah.
like the fantasy universe we got to live in as the Iraq War was happening, and that show kept me sane for a while. But yeah, no, I mean, there was a scene where Leo McGarry was talking to Josh and said, that anecdote of, like, the guy comes along and sees his friend in a hole, and I don't remember exactly how it goes, basically, but like the guy who's walking by jumps down in the hole, and the guy's like, "What are you doing? Why? You know, you were supposed to help me out." And he's like, "No, no, I've been here before. I know how to get out. We'll get out together."
Right, yeah. And that's it. It's I mean, I think back then I watched The West Wing, but I was more of The Wire. Like, I
Yeah,
was I was that kind I was that TV watching,
totally.
you know. And I still incessantly quote it, even though it's completely dated, and it shows that I'm very much a middle-aged white man. Like, I'm very much a middle-aged guy when I'm quoting The Wire. Um, so, but like, the thing is, we've been here before as a country. It's different this time, and it's different for this era. I mean, you think about it. In Thanksgiving in 1941, the world was at war, but America was out of it.
Right.
And in less than, what, 2 weeks, you'd wake up and it's like your whole life changed. The draft was coming, ration cards were coming. We're going to fight a war on two fronts, and no one knew whether we were going to win it.
Right.
we were in it, right?
Right.
Our fleet got bombed at Pearl Harbor. Like my dad was, when he was at the Pacific region and I was a kid and he took me out to uh, the USS Arizona Memorial, the one out in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
And I got to go because, he knew some guys down there. Like I got to go through Hickam, right?
Mm.
And I got to see, they still had at that time, I think they still do, the from the Japanese Zeros coming in, all the damage to the buildings from the gunfire. That was still there as sort of a memorial. And I asked about it when I was a kid. I was like, what's that? And he told me. And I saw the big wall of names, standing over one of the stacks of the USS Arizona Memorial. And we didn't know if, I mean, you're talking December 1941. We didn't know what was going to happen, you know?
Yeah. We had no idea what was going to happen. And
No. And then you have like the Soviet threat. People are building bomb shelters in their backyards, especially in Florida.
yeah.
When they're moving, Cuban Missile Crisis and all that. And you read about that, how close we were to World War III at that moment. And JFK was like, when they're like, no, we got to retaliate, we got to go now. And he's like, no, 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 no. If Trump had been in the White House at that point, oh
Oh,
my
good God.
God. You're talking nuclear annihilation.
Yeah. So speaking of the West Wing, there's a great anecdote that I learned about through the West Wing that is
Yeah.
true, which is in 1940, I guess Roosevelt called for the production of like 50,000 planes, right,
Mhm.
for the war effort, and was laughed at, like literally ridiculed because it was such an ambitious goal that nobody thought that we could do it. And by 1944, we were producing 100,000 planes a year.
Mhm.
And by the end of the war, we had produced more planes than the Soviet Union and Britain combined, which
Mhm.
was kind of the first big flex of America's, industrialization muscle, and also, showed us what we could be. And I'm terrified of what's happening right now and where we're going to go. But I would like to believe that 5 million people showed up on April 5th. Maybe 10 million will show up on the 19th. And I know there's a big May Day action coming. And, the thing that gives me hope is thinking about that there's kind of this trope, this joke that America always eventually does the right thing before kind of doing everything
Everything
else
else that's
wrong
wrong.
first.
Honestly, I think who gives me hope, and I see it all the time, is, and this is going to really sound like pandering, and I really mean it, right? Is women. Because man, if you look at Substack, the content, the things that women are writing and putting out here, my God, like it's some no holds barred kind of like, just here. This is it. We're here. Like we ain't going back.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh man, why do you think Dana has been my best friend for 40 years? Like, she's indefatigable. I am constantly amazed at how much she can do and how smart and articulate, and her writing is beautiful and powerful. And she's raising two kids, and working a full-time job. And good God, there are days I can barely get out of bed.
I see, and I think that is where I see the changing of the guard with that, right? I see this like I because like and that's why I write a lot about men's issues. Like I typically don't write a lot about women's stuff, or it's like for me, it's okay, my lane is here, and mostly because that's the audience that really needs to hear what I'm trying to say, you know, because it's just men. Like I'll never forget, like on the live I had with Larissa Reinhart.
Mm-hmm.
She said something really profound where she says, women are kind of have been moving into their own, right? Like, and Kat just pointed it out, like her mom couldn't get a credit card until 1975. My mother lived
Yeah.
through that too, where when she was
Same.
a single woman in the 60s in New York, right? Working for like a big accounting firm when she was an accountant. Like she's one of those women that like kind of defied convention at the time, where that sort of new, like that crop of women that were like, she got an accounting degree from Denver University, which at that time was like really hard to get into,
Yeah.
you know. And like, so but Larissa said women have come into their own. They figured out like what they're pushing the boundaries and moving into the world for what they want. And guys who are expecting this, I get married, I get a domestic, and I get all this, right? And that's not really an option anymore. And no one's taught them how to,
Fold their laundry.
yeah, no one's taught them how to be on their own. And I never realized that was a thing, because my mom was like, man, I was folding laundry and cleaning my room, and by the time I was 7, I was cooking by the time I was 12.
Sure.
I did, and there was no women's work in my house, right? I mean, it was funny because I remember when I quote graduated to outside work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to cut the grass. My dad gave me the grass cutting duties, right? And my sister always wanted to do what I did, And so, like, I'm cutting grass. I'm like, hey, I don't have to do that laundry no more. Well, I gotta go cut grass. I can't do laundry,
Right.
right? Yeah. And so my sister wanted to cut the grass too, and it was like I was like, no, I got the seniority. I want to do it. Mom wasn't having it. So she literally, like, to keep the peace with us, would stand outside with a watch and 10 minutes each. And we would have to switch cutting the grass, right? You imagine that? It's like, to make it fair, you
Right.
know,
Right.
because I tried every trick in the book, you know. Well, the front's bigger, the back's smaller, all that stuff. But even then, I still had to cut the grass, come inside, clean off, do the dishes, do all this, and this. So, and I cook too, you know. And so these guys who are like, well, that's women's work. I'm like, the hell's women's work?
Mm,
you know?
For real. And honestly, man, do you think like all the dudes that you revere in every Western movie who were, riding on horseback alone didn't cook their own food, didn't wash their own clothes? Like, I, yeah, I don't understand that. I think partly because I learned to cook from a really young age as well. Like my mom couldn't keep me out of the kitchen. I would stand there and ask, "Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" And so I can't remember not knowing how to cook.
But see, and that's my biggest problem with a lot of these so-called men, man, is like, you know, they're afraid of everything, and they're weak. They're afraid of gay people. They're afraid of women, independent women. They're afraid of, like, oh, I can't do this. I don't want a woman work. I don't want this. And I'm like, damn, man, like, you have all these things that have made you weak. I've never. It's like, oh, it's like, are you intimidated by women? I've never been intimidated by women,
Right.
because okay, she's smarter than me. Great, I can learn something from her. Fantastic, you
Yeah.
know.
Man, maybe this is because I'm a gay dude, but like all of my best friends are women. All of my biggest allies are women. I love my mom. I love my sister. I love like. I want. I've wanted a woman to run this country since I was 10. Because I looked at history books and I was like, why has there never been a woman president? And my parents explained whatever they explained in the moment. I was just like, well, that's not fair. There should clearly be a woman running the country.
Right.
You know, So I don't know.
We
Maybe
had two of them that were really qualified.
we had two really qualified
Really
women.
qualified women, and like and everybody said nope, and it's like, and they voted for that boob. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. We go over that so many, but that's I think but going back to it, I think that's what gives me hope is like, you know, the more I see women kind of come into their own, my hope is if men can get their enough like, and there's a lot of us. I don't want to say it's all of us, man, but like if men can get their shit together, and back women up, man, and do better, man, we have something good,
yeah,
you know. It's like just stop taking the energy you put into oppressing these other folks and put it into making yourself better.
right.
What kind of world can we live in?
Yeah, I think you said something today or yesterday on Substack about like imagine if we empowered everybody, if we educated everybody in this country, if we allowed immigrants to come in and, all of the talent and intelligence and, creativity that we could get. Like if we truly just tried to empower every person, regardless of, you know, race or gender or whatever, who knows? Didn't you say
I
something like
can't I
you were
can't
talking about
remember
Steve
which.
Jobs' dad?
Yeah, I can't remember which historian said it, but they said, it might have been MLK, but it's like imagine how many Einsteins died in the fields as
Right,
slave and
right.
change.
Oh my God, yes.
And part of that was when I was in the I was in a World War One class and I was an undergrad, and Dr. Fritz at ETSU, he hammered us one week, and we read uh like this. We would read first like primary source documents. So we're talking about journals, everything else. Some of the most beautiful poetry, profound thoughts you've ever read, and they're like, yeah, this was a young man who was 19 years old from Liverpool. He died at the Somme.
Right, right,
And it was just one after the other. Or we'd see like a painting they had, and it's like, oh yeah, he died at, Verdun. And you read these journal because you read these journals like like this generation in World War One that really benefited from, and especially in France and the UK, from universal compulsory education, a very literate generation, and just like where everybody's journaling, like even working class people are starting to journal,
right,
and you're reading this going like, and it's just one after the other, of these really profound thoughts of, people that had more profound thoughts than I did when I was 19,
right,
you know,
right,
and you start to think about it and you go, how many women died who were forced to have like 6 children,
right.
and they died when they were like 26, 27,
Yeah.
or they never got an education because of their gender.
My grandmother, so on my dad's side, my grandmother was really proud of the fact that she was so she was born in 1909. She was one of the only women in her, part of St. Louis where they lived who finished high school. She was really, really proud of that. She wanted to go to college, but, of course, it's, 1910, 1920, whatever. And her parents were essentially like, no, we can only afford to send one of you to college, and clearly it's your brother Lawrence who's going to go to college, right? And but she was one of the smartest women, one of the smartest people that I've ever known, and it is universally acknowledged in the family that my grandfather's business that was so successful is because my grandmother was actually calling all the shots behind the scenes, right? Because she was doing the books. She understood, marketing and relationships and, margin and all of that stuff. And he was basically the face of the business because it had to be a man. And my grandmother was the person who turned it into an actual success.
it's interesting, like at ETSU in the engineering building, right? And they still have, like, they had it there when I was going to school 20 years ago. It might still be there. So they have, like, it was just basically this brick building, you know, and they got like the classrooms on, like this, two bathrooms on either side at the end of long hallways, right?
Hmm.
Because that's how engineers design things, very
For
basic.
sure.
And so there's urinals in both bathrooms. Now, you know why?
Because it used to be a school that no women went to.
It was built in the late 50s, and women did not become engineers back then. So the people who built it, they built it for men only.
Right.
That's why you have urinals in the bathrooms, at both ends. And so when they finally were forced to basically say, "Oh yeah, women can," they didn't remodel the bathroom. They just slapped ladies on it, and that's it. So there's still urinals in there. You
Right.
know,
Oh.
and so, and I was having me being a horse's ass. You know, when a woman was telling me about it, and we talked about it, so she gets to it. She says, "Yeah, there's only two stalls, and it's like you got to wait in the line. Even if you got to go number one." I said, "Well, did you make do and use one of the urinals?" you know, I mean, they go to the floor now. So
Did she
you can
smack
just
you upside the head?
you can back it up, like you know what I mean. She didn't care for that answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Did she smack you upside the head?
She tried not to laugh, and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna make you laugh now." She's like, "You're not funny." I said, "Oh, I'm damn funny. Come on now." I said, "Go ahead and you show that patriarchy what you think of that urinal, girl."
Hmm.
Yeah, she didn't care for that.
Yeah.
I think I basically got a smack. So, you know,
You probably didn't get
but
a number out of it. Is
no, well, no, we were friends, but yeah, you'd be surprised with what I get in the number out of.
Oh no. Oh no,
Hell, I'm
everybody.
surprised.
We're
Hell, I'm
about to go
surprised.
off the rails.
Hell, I'm surprised about it. Sometimes, I mean, most of the time, it's when you just like, it's when you try too hard, you don't get it.
Right.
You know, like,
Right. Yeah, it's when
yeah,
you're relaxed and just kind of laughing and having a good time that
yeah, acting a fool, and all of a sudden, it's just like you're like, and I'm shocked. I'm like, shit, that worked. Like, all right, let me see if I can bottle that and try it again. Nope.
yeah, no. Not with intention. Not with
Hell
intention.
no, it don't work like that. I wish it did. Well, no, I'm 48 now. I'm just like, mm-mm, most of the time I see women now at 48, I'm just like, go in peace. you know, go with grace before you. Like,
I, we do when Dana's back, we're gonna have the episode where we talk about dating because I'm telling you, man, if when I think of like 19-year-old me who was freaked out because I was gay and had no
oh
idea what I
God,
was doing for like if I could go back in time and just be like, dude, one day you will be 55 and you will look like a daddy bear and you will
I
have
know they're gonna
no
be all over
clue
you, man.
people.
They're gonna be all. I think, man, it comes down to charisma. It comes down to just like, and I hate to say it, man. Like the other men have just turned into such jackasses. The bar's so low.
Hmm.
I damn near have to be careful I don't trip over it. You know, like I'm like, you know, like it's funny because and my sister was talking with one of her friends. She says, I just want a guy who's dependable and does what he says he's gonna do and keeps his word. And da da da. And she's like, oh, so the bare minimum?
Right. With the
That's
literal
the
bare
bare
minimum.
minimum, bro.
Oh, you mean being actually interested in another human being and caring about them as a legitimate, independent person who has thoughts and feelings?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was telling me that. I said, and I was talking to some of her single friends because she had There's some movie she got into, the Gloria Childs thing. What was it? Stanley Tucci was in it,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
not Glenn Close. Gosh, what's her name? I'm blanking. Not Glenn Close. The other one.
Meryl Streep
There
played
we
Julia
go. Thank
Childs.
you.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's, yeah, what is it called? Julie and Me? Something like that?
Yeah. Julie and Me. Yeah. And so Adrian watched it, and I was watching part of it, and she had, she did one of the cooking nights, and she had a bunch of her friends over, and they were all talking about dating, and I'm sitting there just like. I'm like an anthropologist, man. I'm just taking notes.
Right.
I'm like, and I'm hearing all the horror stories. I'm like, damn, is it that bad out there? Because I've been like doing the entrepreneurial thing. I've been a hermit, you know,
Hmm.
like I've been caretaking, writing and this and that. I ain't been out there, you know. And every time I think about going out there, I don't want to go out there, you know, because I mean, I hear what they're doing out there now. I don't know. It scares me, man. I'm being honest. It scares me, man.
Yeah. I think that, Gen Z, like, help me out if there's any Gen Z folks on here, but there's something happening with, and I mean, I know like adolescence and Andrew Tate and, blah, 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 all of that. But the messages that Gen Z and the Gen after them, Gen Alpha dudes are getting is pretty twisted with regards to, gender dynamics and women and dating and everything.
Here's what kills me with these young men, right? These, is I look. There was one time, and I had some friends, man, and we were kind of buck wild back in the day. We went out 8 days a week, man. You know what I mean? Like, because weren't no internet, wasn't none of that. Hey, thanks, Bob. Appreciate you. And so we want to be out amongst it. I'm talking about like I'm 21, 22. And like so much so we got to know the owners of like the local bars in like 3 different cities. So we didn't have to pay cover. We got all kinds of good stuff, right? And we sat around. Of course we would holler at every woman that had a pulse, man. I'm not trying to say that with pride, but it's just like, you know, we're military guys, and so we said, okay, some of us are like snipers. We line up the shot. It's like we're gonna make sure we're good to go. And then some of us were like machine guns, like, hey baby, hey baby, hey baby, hey baby. I was like, we're firing for effect, man. You know, so we got to sitting around one day, and my brain started doing the math, and it's like, well, I go out this many times a month, and I talked to this many women on average. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, damn, man, if I was a major league ball player, they would have shipped my ass to the minors.
Oh yeah, no. I'm
And
sure your stats were not.
oh no, they weren't good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in there swinging, you know, but they weren't good. I think they were somewhere in like the 200s. Like, they would have been like, yeah, he's got potential, but we need to develop that boy.
Hmm.
His fundamentals are off.
Right.
So
Right. This
I
is
look
where I
at these
go.
young,
Narrator voice. He said 200s, but it was actually significantly lower than that.
it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was like I'm closing my eyes and like, oh, I hear the crack of the bat, and it's like, Eric, it's going to the wall, that kind of thing. But I think what it is, man, is like these young men must be scared to death to go out and just fail.
Right.
Just
Right. To
fail.
be rejected and to take
Yeah.
no for an answer and to just fail and try again.
I mean, I went through stretches where I'd say 30 women rejected me in a row for one reason or another. And then you finally get that one yes, and you're like, the drought is over. Jehovah, you have led me to the promised land. You know, and I mean, but that's it, man. It's like, and I look at these guys and I'm like, yeah, these women reject you, and like, so what?
Right.
You know, like,
Have you considered that maybe the issue is you, bud? Like maybe it's that you're not actually bringing anything to the table. Perhaps you don't spark interesting conversation or have unique thoughts in your own head. I mean, come on.
why the hell do you think I learned to be funny? I mean, I wasn't good looking enough. I had a friend of mine that was good looking enough where he'd stand there, and then inevitably someone would come up to him and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" That wasn't me, man. I'm not trying to say I'm ugly. I mean, maybe like I'm probably like I'm somewhere. I think I'm somewhere in between a medium ugly and he's all right. I can clean up pretty good. But I
Dana's
had
on
to
the
be. I
call.
had to be.
We all know that what Big Coffee is doing right here is called fishing.
That's it. But I had to be funny. That's the thing. It's like I found out if you could be funny, you could get that even the side eye. Be like, hey, what's going on? And they get, I'm just out trying to do, blah blah. Okay. And you tell them a joke, and it's like, oh my god, you're so funny. Like, but that's it, man. Is like everybody eventually found their little thing, like that really was just an icebreaker to get you over your nervousness. And it was like, well, I don't care to make fun of myself and try to be the butt of a joke, so here we go.
Yeah, honestly, being self-deprecating, like
Oh
the
yeah.
moment I figured out, like, oh, I can make the joke about me and it's funny, and yeah, no, that
Yeah.
kind of makes a big difference. I feel like we should take a moment to say, for all those folks who have joined, we did really talk about the citizens oath at the beginning of this call.
We did.
And we had two people, Susan and Kat, who joined us and took the oath in front of everyone, and it was great. If anyone wants to, feel free to volunteer in the chat. I do want to point out two things. Bob, who I think departed already, said he went to an Indivisible event last night to talk about organizing after April 5th. And he said that we've got more engagement here than they had last night. And I think it's partly because we actually have a concrete thing that,
Sure.
what he said is because we have a concrete thing that we're suggesting that people do.
100%.
Yeah.
I got to jump here in a minute. I got to go walk a dog.
All right. All right.
But yeah, but we definitely we're definitely gonna do more of these. And we love everybody I love everybody that's coming in and showing support for this. This is awesome.
Love it. Absolutely.
We definitely need to do like a dating talk or something.
Yeah. So Dana is back from Ireland on Saturday. She'll need a day or two probably to settle in and recover. But we definitely are going to do one with you. We're going to do that dating show that we were talking about because between the three of us, we've got some interesting perspectives for sure. Yeah. So
I think like all of my dating stories are like a guy, like, it's like those old NFL greats videos where they start out and so it's like, back in 1994. Well, see, back then you couldn't DM anybody. You had to actually call them.
We didn't have these fancy cell phones back then, you see.
So you had to call them on the phone, and then you hope she was home and be like, "Hello." You didn't want to get the answering machine,
right?
So then you had to convince the woman to come out and meet you in a public place, and that that was tough. So yeah, I broke my thumb in 4 places, back then.
Right, dialing the phone.
Oh yeah, the rotary. Oh yeah, man.
Right, the rotary phone.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. So I got to go walk a dog.
All right, man. Well, thank you. Thanks everyone for joining us. I'm just going to plug the website again. It's thecitizensoath.org. Go there, print out the flyer, and bring it to the thing, or buy one of those T-shirts that has a QR code on it. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Frederic. We'll talk to you real soon, man.
Have a good one.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.